My name is Catherine Wolfram. I'm a professor of energy economics at the MIT Sloan School. Before I came to MIT, I served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Climate and Energy at Treasury in the beginning of the Biden administration. And before that, I was a professor for many great years at UC Berkeley, Haas School of Business.
I'm Trevon Logan, the NG Axiom Endowed Professor of Economics at The Ohio State University, an Associate Dean in the College of Arts and Sciences at The Ohio State University. I'm an economic historian, economic demographer, and economist of racial equality.
My name is Suresh Naidu. I'm the Jack Wang and Echo Ren Professor of Economics and Professor of Public Affairs at Columbia University.
I'm Heidi Williams. I'm a professor of economics at Dartmouth College, and I'm also director of science policy at the Institute for Progress, which is a nonpartisan think tank based in DC.
My name is Daron Acemoglu. I am an institute professor at MIT in the economics department, and my work focuses on democracy, institutional developments, and economic growth and inequality, especially the effects of automation and AI on inequality nowadays.
In my career, I've benefited a lot myself from mentors, starting with my academic advisors at MIT, who are now luckily my colleagues here. And both in grad school, definitely in grad school, they were super helpful to helping me figure out what to study and how to navigate all the kind of ins and outs of starting an academic career, and have continued to be helpful to me. So I definitely feel the obligation, desire, wish to return the favor and help younger academics navigate the academic world. And really, as I say, since I've been a policymaker, help them try to have their academic research have impact in the policy world. And I think there are a lot of things that senior researchers can do to just like explain how things work, to help give advice on which conferences to attend, or how to apply for grants. So there's a lot that is gained when you've been through things for a number of years and done it yourself. And I definitely feel that the um, strong desire to return the favor to more junior researchers.
There are primarily two areas where I've tried to foster leadership of the next generation of economists. For the last several years, I have served as the co-director for the American Economic Association's mentoring program, where we take underrepresented scholars who are in graduate school and match them with mentors to provide professional development opportunities for those scholars. That includes the Summer Pipeline Conference, where one of the things that we do universally is introduce those scholars to non academic placements and jobs and opportunities to have scholarly exchanges with those who are in the policy space, which I think of as being incredibly important. The second way in which I've worked to foster a second generation of leaders is really through operating here at Ohio State in the undergraduate program and bringing students into the research progress and process. I have had students who have filed patents and students who've gone on to policy spaces, students who've gone on to PhD programs, but most importantly, students who now see the value of economics in their life, and some who have returned to the economics classroom, and some who have not returned to the economics classroom but continue with those policies in mind as they operate in the private sector, public sector, and other types of organizations.
I think most of my, to what extent I've had any leadership, it's just possibly by being somewhat of like an example of how you can kind of continue to be weird in economics, and it's become an incredibly professionalized field where like people are doing pre-docs and then coming into grad school with like an enormous, you've taken all the math and all the economics, but there's like rare, because the pipeline has become so competitive, there's just like not a lot of space to kind of just be weird or like do something come out of a sort of strange path into economics, and like as that kind of work across many fields in economics, because the professional incentives to kind of stay in your lane and things are very strong. And I've I have somehow managed to stay in this field while like walking across a lot of those lines, and I feel like that's, to the extent I've had any leadership, it's kind of been sort of modeling how you don't necessarily have to stay in one lane and you can like walk across without necessarily being like this most superstar economist or anything. It's like normal economists that are not like Daron Acemoglu or someone can just, you still have something that you can, you can have like insights that are reasonably portable and work across fields, collaborate with other disciplines, publish in places that are not just the standard economics journals. And so you can still like kind of be a little bit weird and not sort of super professionalized inside the economics discipline.
So first, I don't know that I would call it leadership. That's a label that I feel like people shouldn't apply to themselves. But I can say that in the last few years, I've been working closely with Matt Clancy from Open Philanthropy and Paul Niehaus from UCSD on trying to support this kind of work. And so it's easiest for me to talk about what Paul and I do just because we're both university faculty. So, our efforts on kind of teaching and advising students are kind of more directly analogous than the work that Matt's been involved with. So, at the core, Paul and I are just huge optimists about the potential role for economics to do good. And so we try to live that ourselves by using economic research to, in my case, accelerate scientific progress, and in Paul's case, to accelerate the end of extreme poverty. Paul and I really share strongly a goal of supporting and enabling future generations of economics researchers to kind of share that kind of ambition to do research that is going to produce tangible benefits to humanity rather than just thinking of academia as a place that produces papers and kind of, longer lines on your CV. And so both Paul and I draw a lot of energy from doing research that directly benefits organizations that fundamentally care about getting the right answer to socially important problems. And so I give the Congressional Budget Office and Open Philanthropy as like two examples. Paul has also done a lot of work with Give Directly, which is an organization that he co-founded, which very much lies in the same vein. So Paul and I have several efforts that are aimed at trying to make that kind of partnership-based research easier for students, either through encouraging direct placements at organizations or by encouraging organizations to disclose key bottlenecks in their work where more research by students and academics could be helpful. We're also working to try to mentor students more directly and support them through dissertation fellowships that are paired with giving them exposure to peers at other institutions, because oftentimes these questions, or just more broadly the motivation that people bring to their work, it can feel very isolating if you're one of the only students in your program that's kind of drawn in from that kind of motivation. And so connections with peers and mentors at other institutions, I think, can provide a lot of social support network. And, to some extent, that motivation is just, I benefit a huge amount from Paul mentoring me. And that really motivates me to try to find a way to help support students that are like Paul and I, to find their own mentors and peers to support and inspire them in their work.
Research appeals to me because it has an element of openness. Nobody tells you what to do. You can go after issues that you find inspiring or challenging. And there is quite a high degree of individual initiative that you have to take. That being said, research is not a solitary process. Every one of us benefits from having colleagues. Most of us work with co-authors, and most of us work with a team that provides invaluable support in terms of data analysis, background work, or other help. But even more importantly, the entire research edifice is built on a community of scholars who can challenge each other, who can understand where the next step is going to come from, and build on past progress in order to take us to even better understanding of critical questions. What that means is that as researchers, our responsibility is not just to do the best we can in terms of academic research or policy discussions, but also to build a better ecosystem by investing in the next generation. That means graduate students, that means undergraduates, that means research assistants, and the general academic environment in which we share ideas and we push each other to be better. I think MIT in general, and many of the people I work with, have really taken this to heart, and I have also tried to be part of this effort and invest in the next generation, work closely with graduate students and undergraduates. And I think it's one of the most satisfying aspects of our academic job. But at the same time, it also makes us more hopeful about what the future will hold, because with a better informed citizenry, with a better informed academia, I think we're going to do a better job of building shared prosperity in the future.